What is a Chief Marketing Technologist? I'm going to use Harvard Business Review's language to kickstart our conversation here with a few modifications. A new type of executive is emerging at the center of the digital transformation, the Chief Marketing Technologist. CMTs are part strategist, part creative director, part technology leader, and part teacher. CMTs are aligning marketing and technology with business goals, serving as a liaison to IT and evaluating technology providers. About half are also charged with helping craft new digital business models as well. So in a lot of ways, this is what we've been doing over at TechGuys for a long period of time. Really, we started with this hybrid approach because of the gap we saw in the marketplace. People were focused on technology, other people were focused on marketing. Nobody was focused on that intersection between the two disciplines, which is really where things get done. Things actually get done. They don't just get kind of talked about or half completed in a silo. So let me continue to a few more passages from this article. CMTs champion greater experimentation and a more agile management approach. They are the change agents across the company to create competitive advantage. As digital marketing and e-commerce continue to rise and become the method of how most business is done, it's critical for companies to stay on the forefront of this. Which software you choose, how it operates, and how creatively your team applies it matters. In this new environment, the CMO and CIO must collaborate closely, but executive level cooperation isn't enough. A supporting organizational structure is also needed. A company can't split marketing technology down the middle. It leaves massive knowledge gaps in practice. Marketing may not understand how to fully leverage what IT can offer, and IT may not understand how to actually translate marketing requirements into technical capabilities. Instead, marketing technology must be managed holistically. In a virtuous cycle, what's possible with technology should inspire what's desirable for marketing, and vice versa. That's the key thing here, is that marketing and technology must be in sync. And this applies not just to the marketing technology at play, but to the very strategies that the marketing department is wanting to implement. And the technology that IT talks to the marketing department about. How are we leveraging real-time chat? Is there any machine learning that actually applies to how we work with our data? The list goes on to different methods and tactics that really live between these two disciplines. And a way I like to explain this is that the customer experience is dependent upon technology these days, which is a marketing function. If we're talking to a customer at any touch point, we're crafting an experience. That's a marketing function. So as technology becomes ubiquitous through a company's processes, through all of our business processes, we have to have marketing in mind through the whole thing. That's where the CMT division, not just the leadership of the Chief Marketing Technologist, but the entire division that is dedicated to moving the ball forward from an innovation perspective, from an efficiency perspective, across the different divisions and disciplines, that's where it comes into play. That's where it really starts to matter. And we're seeing a rise of this. We're seeing a rise of the need, along with the impact that we can actually make for clients by going deeper. And by going deeper, I mean, in the past, we've really operated as a sort of a management and implementation company with a little bit of consulting on the side. But with this Chief Marketing Technologist offering, we're really stepping into businesses as an executive player, having those conversations, driving objectives, demanding key result definitions, really playing at that top level of strategy to ensure that everything we do has the biggest impact on your company. So if we dive over into the actual definitions, the actual structure, you can see where the Chief Marketing Technologist lives in between the CIO or CTO, or both, and the CMO. And often the Chief Marketing Technologist will end up working with both, just depending upon which focus the company actually requires. The engagement process that we have with this is consistent of sort of three roles. The CMT, the project manager that lives under that CMT, and the tech and marketing hybrid team. The three of those make up the division that we're really bringing to the table here. The way that we operate, first and foremost, is around the objectives and the key results of the company at large. And the Chief Marketing Technologist is driving that with the rest of the executive team, making sure there's enough clarity. If there's not clarity, we can't be innovative. we can't help ensure that the technology department of the company is really performing on the cutting edge with the best efficiencies. And the same applies to marketing. We can't be sure that the campaigns that are in place or the new direction marketing is trying to go is actually aligned with the objectives. We organize the key results into monthly and weekly top threes that we focus on in the agile sprints. Now with that, there's 4 core tools that we approach these engagements with: immersion sequences, marketing map, and 2 marketing calendars, one internal and one external. Diving into the objectives and key results, we're talking about OKRs, which is the same tool that Google, Intel, and many other companies use to accomplish what they're after. A point of importance here is that objectives must be significant, concrete, action-oriented, inspirational, and really, most importantly, a vaccine against fuzzy thinking. For all the ideas that are going to come up as we engage, as your executive team kicks around new ideas and goals for the coming year, the objective enables this vaccine that prevents us from going down the wrong path. There's never been a time in history where we have had more information to distract us, which means this is critical. Getting the objectives right and them actually being objectives. Key results come from those objectives. They're specific and time-bound, they're aggressive yet realistic, and they're measurable and verifiable. Yes or no? Did we achieve them? Equipped with the objectives and key results, we then can really start diving into optimizing whatever we're after today. The first core tool that we're talking about is an immersion sequence. An immersion sequence is a graphical representation of the company's core customer engagement points from the perspective of increased relationship. And why this is important is that it really acts as that top-level funnel of how do we immerse people in our world? How do we create raving fans? And as we do that, as we move people through this ascension model, they could be products, they could be services, they can be free items. It's really the ascension picture. We can ask the question, what is the lifetime account value of an ideal customer? With that, we can reverse engineer all of the marketing, and it gives us a foundation for how to think about the technology we want to use. Meaning, how do we move somebody from an initial free offer or a value offer into the first paid product? With this approach, we're also looking to see what is the conversion rate between these different points. We can monitor the performance of our marketing efforts for this type of customer. Now, we might have multiple immersion sequences because we have different types of customers, which is fine. Modeling them lets us keep tabs on it and make sure that we're not running off the rails and creating something that doesn't really serve the customer. We treat these documents as living documents, meaning the immersion sequence is updated before technology or marketing put new items in place or modify things. The next tool that we use is what's called a marketing map. And if the immersion sequence is the 30,000 foot view, the marketing map is that microscopic granular view of that customer experience. The value of the map is in detailing the experience in order to best monitor and improve it at every point along the way. If we can increase the efficiency of customer engagement early on in the process, we actually increase the throughput all the way. And increasing at every little point adds up in a very significant manner. The way we look at it, the more detail on the map, the better. It allows us to really see what's happening holistically, regardless of the technology systems that are used. Similar to the immersion sequence, this is a living document. It gets updated and modified before we actually put things into place. This is the strategic planning side and observation for these processes. The last 2 tools, the marketing calendar internal and the marketing calendar external, are fairly simple and straightforward. The internal calendar keeps track of all of the efforts that the marketing department has towards the internal assets that we own, meaning our email list, followers on Facebook, followers on Twitter, followers on Instagram, any text messaging lists, physical addresses. All of those activities are put into the marketing calendar, scheduled out, and their performance monitored so that we can see the outliers, so that we can really look for what's working. Having this in a single spot versus spread across multiple systems from multiple providers really allows us to see what's going on and where to make improvements. And when something in the marketing calendar works really well, we move that concept, we take that concept and we put it into the marketing map. The marketing map is that automated representation of the customer flow. And with the marketing calendar external, this is new data sources that we're pushing into our processes, generally into a funnel that the marketing map shows. So these can be email lists that we rent, they could be joint venture partners that are mailing us, any myriad of activity that is external that drives traffic both in and us driving traffic out. So if we're using an internal list to promote somebody else's product, it would go on this list, the external calendar. It's generating revenue for the company externally. So this is the approach and the tools that we use as Chief Marketing Technologists to make an impact on your company. We start with the objectives and the key results, breaking those down into quarterly, monthly, weekly goals and action items that we put into sprints. We tackle them at whatever speed makes sense for you and your business, whatever innovation is needed. And we utilize the 4 core tools of the immersion sequence, the marketing map, and the 2 marketing calendars to help make sure technology and marketing are really optimized inside the company, that we're really mapping the experience that we create for customers. At the end of the day, everything boils down to the experience that we create for your customers.